God bless everybody. So we are continuing with the series God the Father Has Feelings. And we are going to continue with the people of Israel and Moses, part 2. So now we are at the point in time where Moses is a grown man. So he one day comes across an Egyptian beating on a Hebrew. He sees that. He looks around. He doesn't see anybody. So he kills the Egyptian to save the Hebrew. All right. It says the next day he comes up upon two Hebrews fighting. He comes up to the one that was in the wrong and says, "Why are you hitting your brother?" And the guy turns around and says, "Who made you a prince and judge over us? Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?" So Moses, realizing that the word is out that he had killed the Egyptian, he is now getting ready to flee and go to Midian. The word gets to Pharaoh that Moses has killed an Egyptian, and now he orders Moses to be killed. So Moses flees to a place called Midian, right? So Midian fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Right? So the priest of Midian had 7 daughters who came and drew water, and they filled their troughs to water the father's flock. And then the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. When they came to rule, their father said, "How is it that you have come so soon today?" So they explained to him that the shepherds came and chased them away, but Moses was there, and he interceded for them, and he chased the shepherds away. So the priest of Midian, which was Jethro, he asked his daughters, "Where is this guy? Why is it that you have left the man?" So he told him to call him and let brought him over for food. Moses was very content to live with the man, and the man gave Zipporah, his daughter, to Moses, and she bore him a son. His name was Gershom. For he said, "I have been a stranger in a foreign land." Now it had happened in the process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel groaned because of the bondage, and they cried out, and the cry came up to God because of the bondage. So God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. God looked down on the children of Israel, and God acknowledged them. So here we are seeing God and his mercy, God and his love, looking down upon his children who is crying out to him because of their bondage and their punishment that they are going through. God was already in the process of getting ready to deliver him. Getting ready to deliver them. Moses was being, I believe, Moses was being trained up for that very moment. He went through the situations in Egypt. He was saved at childbirth. So I believe God was training him up. So when the time came, he would be ready to do what God told him to do. So I'm gonna read you guys chapter 3 out of Exodus. This is where things start to get very interesting, very very personal for Moses, because now he's going to come face to face with God. He's not going to be able to see God in his glory, but he's going to see him and hear him at the burning bush. So Moses is getting ready to receive his assignment. So it's going to be very interesting. So I hope you guys are ready for this, because when we go through stuff in life and we get ready to do things, sometimes, it can be scary, because we get put into positions that we think that we are not able to do, but God knows better. Is it scary? Absolutely. So bear with me for a second, and then we're going to get started with Moses at the burning bush. Here we go. Starting from verse 1. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the back of the desert and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire from the midst of a bush. So he looked, and behold, the bush was burning with fire, but the bush was not consumed. Then Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush does not burn. Imagine this. You see a tree on fire, but it's not on fire. Does it make sense? The tree is on fire, but it's not showing any resemblance of it being burned. Kind of crazy, isn't it? I can only imagine what Moses was thinking when he saw that. Alright, moving on. Verse 4. So when the Lord saw that he turned aside to look, God called to him from the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here I am. Then he said, Do not draw near this place. Take your sandals off your feet, for this place where you stand is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. So now, he is in the presence of God. The Lord tells him to take his shoes off, because the ground that he's walking on is holy. Right? God says, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Moses realizes that he's in the presence of God, and he hid his face because he was afraid to look upon God. Moving on, verse 7. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt, and heard their cry because of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. So I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up from that land to a good and large land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Excuse me if I'm getting the pronunciations wrong. Not really good with some of those pronunciations. Moving on to verse 9. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression with which the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now therefore, and I will send you to Pharaoh, that you may bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. So here's God. He is acknowledging Israel as his people. These are his children. And like any other parent, when they see their children in trouble, they're going to come to their aid. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. And he says, I've seen the oppression that the Egyptians have put on my people. I've seen how they treated them. I've seen and their whips from their taskmasters. I've seen them see the cries of the taskmasters for their sorrows. So I'm coming down from my holy place to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians. That's what a father does. His kid gets into trouble, he delivers them. When they disobey him, he punishes them. Not because he wants to, but he wants to teach them a lesson. And you'll find out throughout the entire Bible that all of us, not just the Israelites, all of us go through this cycle where we do bad things, we get punished, we cry out to God, he delivers us, then we do bad things, we get punished, we cry out to God, he delivers us. It's like a cycle, a never-ending cycle. It's just the way it is. I mean, I wish that we would come to our senses and know that when we do bad things, there's going to be punishment, so don't do them. But I've been on this earth for like 47 years, and I'm part of that cycle, unfortunately, and I will try to do the best I can to break that cycle. But as we see here, the Israelites are in that cycle. They're doing that cycle over and over again. So, but God's about to deliver them out of the Egyptians' hands. So, moving on. Verse 11. But Moses said to God, who am I should go to Pharaoh, and that I should bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? So he said, I will certainly be with you, and this shall be a sign to you that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you shall serve God on this mountain. So here we are. Moses is like pretty much saying, why are you picking me? I mean, who am I? I'm just just a regular person. And God's telling him, I'm going to be with you. I'm going with you. You know, and so that you will know that I have sent you, and they will know I have sent you. It'll be a sign to you that I have sent you. That's what he said. Moving on. Verse 13. Then Moses said to God, indeed, when I come to the children of Israel, say to them, the God of your fathers have sent me to you, and they say to me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? And God said to Moses, I am who I am. And he said, thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. And in the King James Version, it is, give me 1 second. In the King James Version, it said, and Moses said unto God, behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, the God of your fathers has sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, what is his name? What shall I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, thus shall say unto the children of Israel, I am has sent me unto you. And God said moreover unto Moses, that shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, the Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. Go and gather the elders of Israel, and say unto them, the Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and Jacob, appeared unto me, and I have surely visited you, and seen that which is done to you in Egypt. And he said, I will bring you up out of the afflictions of Egypt, and in the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, unto a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall hearken to thy voice, and thou shalt come, thou and the elders of Israel, and unto the kings of Egypt, and you shall say unto them, the Lord God of the Hebrews hath met with us, and now let us go. We beseech thee 3 days journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. So he tells Moses, you're going to tell the people that I sent you, right? I am that I am. They're going to ask you, that who is this God? Just know that they will hearken their voice, and thou shalt come, and the elders of Israel, all of you, will go to the king of Egypt and tell him, the Lord has met with us, and it's now time to let us go. You sent that message to him. Verse 19, and I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go, no, not by a mighty hand, and I will stretch out my hand and smite Egypt with all wonders, which I will do in the midst thereof. After that he will let you go. And I will give these people favor in the sight of Egyptians. And it shall come to pass that when you go, you shall not go empty, but every woman shall borrow of her neighbor, and of her the sojourneth, in her house jewels of silver, jewels of gold, raiment, and y'all shall put them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and you shall spoils the Egyptians. Right? So then it goes into, we're going to go into chapter 4 in a little bit. So what happens is, he said, not only am I going to deliver them out of there, but they're not going to leave empty-handed. They're going to take everything with them. We're going to take the spoils of the Egyptians with them. The gold, the silver, everything. So going into chapter 4, starting at verse 1. Then Moses answers, what if they don't believe me and will not obey me, but say, the Lord did not appear to you? The Lord asked him, what is that in your hand? A staff? So then he said, throw it on the ground. And he threw it on the ground, and it became a snake. Moses ran from it, but the Lord told him, stretch out your hand and grab it by the tail. So he stretched out his hand, and he caught it by the tail, and it became a staff in his hand. This will take place, he continued, so they will believe that Yahweh, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared to you. Furthermore, the Lord said to him, now put your hand in your bosom. And he put his hand in his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprosy like snow. And he said, put your hand in your bosom again. So he put his hand in his bosom again, and he drew it out of his bosom, and behold, it was restored like his other flesh. Then it will be, if they do not believe you, nor heed the message of the first sign, that they may believe the message of the latter sign. And it shall be, if they do not believe even these two signs, or listen to your voice, that you shall take water from the river and pour it on dry land. The water which you take from the river will become blood on dry land. So here it is, Moses trying to iron out the details. He says, what if they don't believe me? And God already knows that they're not going to believe him. So he's already put forth a plan to deal with that, which is, one, he's got to convince Moses to trust him. He tells him to stretch out his hand with the staff, throw it on the ground, it becomes a snake. Tells him to pick it up by his tail, picks it up by his tail, and becomes a staff again. Then he tells him, put your hand behind in your bosom, brings it out, it's full of leprosy. Put it back in your bosom. Now take it out again. And he's got his hand again. So he's showing him the signs, because that's exactly what he's going to do when he gets to Egypt, to show the people. And he's building. It's more so, it's a confidence builder for Moses. All right. Moses appears to have a little doubt, pretty much. Appears to, he's going back to Egypt, and he knows there's the Pharaoh's waiting on him to put him to death for killing the Egyptian. He knows all of that. I mean, I personally be a little concerned myself if I known I was going back there, knowing the things that I had done. But at the same time, he's not going to be alone. God is going to be with him. And he's just preparing the people. He's preparing Moses to deal with the people. That's what he's doing. Preparing Moses to deal with the people, because God knows how the people are gonna treat him. So he's preparing them how to deal with all of that. So then we're going to go into verse 10 of chapter 4. Then Moses said to the Lord, "O my Lord, I'm not eloquent, neither before nor since you have spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and slow of tongue." So the Lord said to him, "Who has made man's mouth? Or makes the mute, the deaf, the seeing, or the blind? Have not I, the Lord? Now therefore go, and I will be with your mouth and teach you what you shall say." So here, Moses is telling God, I don't speak properly. So we all know that Moses had a speech problem. He stutters a lot. We know that. You know, he's slow of tongue, slow of speech, because he stutters a lot. He has a speech problem. God is getting a little angry at this point, because he wants Moses to understand that God is going to be with him. So stop worrying. And Moses is not getting that point at this point. And, and God just kind of gets mad and yells at him and say, who made man's mouth? The deaf, the seeing, the blind. Was it not me? He said, "Listen, I'm going to teach you what to say. I'm going to tell you what to say. Don't worry about it. Just do what I tell you." So then, verse 13, he goes, "But he said, O my Lord, please send by the hand of whomever else you may send." So the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses, and he said, "Is not Aaron the Levite your brother? I know that he can speak well, and look, he is also coming out to meet you. When he sees you, he will be glad in his heart. Now you should go speak to him and put the words in his mouth, and I will be your mouth, and with his mouth I will teach you what you shall do. So he shall be your spokesman to the people, and he himself shall be as a mouth for you, and you shall be to him as God. And you shall take this rod in your hand, with which you shall do the signs." So Moses tells him, "Please, give me help." Pretty much, he's asking for help. So God turns his anger away. It says, "Look, isn't Aaron your brother? I'll send him with you. I know he speaks well. He is going to come out to meet you. When he sees you, he'll be glad in his heart. He'll be happy to see you. But you are going to speak to him and put the words in his mouth. And I will be with your mouth and his mouth. And I will teach you what you shall do." You're going to tell him what to say. Bottom line. Alright? He's going to be your spokesperson. I will send him to help you. So now we got all the details. Moses receives his assignment. And now it's time for him to go back to Egypt. Alright? So we're going to end this video on this one. It's going to get good. Actually, I'm not even sure how many parts this is. Maybe there's maybe 3, maybe 4. Definitely 3, because, you know, part 2, I'm going to end it right here because we're at 30 minutes. But there will be a part 3. More than likely, there will be a part 4. So, there's a lot of parts to this. And as we see with Moses, God showing love, showing compassion, also angry, but he's also understanding too. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of it that's coming. God bless you. I love you guys. I enjoy doing this for both me and you guys. So I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.